I told you to watch over the weekend the new Chappelle special.
Yes.
So Dave Chappelle, the comedian, came out with a new special, and there's a lot of shit surrounding it. But let's just get your first initial takes after you watched it.
All right. First of all, I never really watched Dave Chappelle much. Okay. I just figured he was, I don't know, I just didn't feel it like he wasn't like a mainstream comedian that you whatever. So he was like maybe like one level, a slight level below.
I also think maybe because he was a black comedian too. Like,
no, I don't care about that.
No, but
Eddie
like
Murphy was like mainstream comedian in our time, and he was like,
Chappelle hasn't been doing stand up since 2 years ago.
Okay,
yeah.
So it has nothing to do with black at all, zero.
No, but like there are some comedians that I'm not interested in because they like are to a different demographic. But okay, go on.
No, but I'm just being honest with you. I never it wasn't that. Okay, first of all, he's amazing. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. No, he's truly brilliant.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna watch all his fucking episodes because he's so smart. He's so good in what he says, and he's 100% correct. And he doesn't. And you know what I love about him?
He says things that you didn't even realize. You're like, fuck. That's what I thought.
Not only do I give him a lot of respect, but he doesn't give a fuck about being canceled now. He made it very clear, like basically go fuck yourself is what he said without saying go fuck yourself. And he's completely correct. And even when he said Bruce Jenner, he goes, you women should be so fucking annoyed because Bruce Jenner becomes a fucking a woman and she becomes Woman of the Year. What has she done?
He said she became Woman of the Year the first year she was a woman.
Right. What did she? I mean, so what does she do? And I agree. And he's so on it that it makes when I watch him, I enjoyed every aspect of it. By the way,
because not only is he being funny, but he's making really poignant social commentary that everyone needs to hear. But he's doing it in such an entertaining way.
Brilliant. No.
Yeah.
He made his points very clear in a comedic way. He's brilliant.
And he even made it like he addressed things about the black community. He was like bringing up things like how the trans community is also oppressed and they're like been oppressed for a decade. And he's like, the black community, we've been oppressed for way longer and way more oppressed. Like we're dying in the streets. Right. But he does it in a way that sometimes when people get too preachy, like
you turn you off on
get
them
preachy
too.
And you're like, all right, I don't want to hear. He was bringing up points about the black community that I was like, you know what, Dave? I agree with you.
No, I would be angry if I was a black person at the LGBTQ.
Yeah.
I'd be angry because the best was when he goes, and there's the transgender woman with two big black gay guys. Did I tell you this, right?
I watched the special.
No, right. He goes, and she's like, and you don't know what it's like being a president. And he looks at the two black gay guys and goes, anything you want to say?
Anything from you, brothers?
Anything you want to say?
Yeah.
It's such
because the white trans woman was feeling oppressed.
It's such a fucking joke. And what's more, so I give him a lot of credit. Because we need more people like him that doesn't give a shit. And again, see, here's where he's brilliant. And this is where it's so true. Like even when we talk about it, we're not anti-LGBTQ. We're not anti-black people. We're not anti any of that stuff.
And he in his special made it very clear.
He made it very clear.
He was like, I want to have a dialogue. I want to talk and learn more about you and have the conversation.
But just because you bring something up that they only take what they want to take, the guy was brilliant.
No, yeah, everyone definitely should check out the special.
He was great.
So then I'll give you like what's come from this because I just wanted you to watch it so that you could form your own opinion on what he said.
Brilliant guy.
So
smarter than me the way he came across. He wrote that. He was brilliant.
His special before this, which was called Sticks and Stones, he has a deal at Netflix. They bought like 9 of his next specials. So he's owned by Netflix in a good way. Like they bought his deal out. Right. His previous special, which was called Sticks and Stones, he did a whole like 30-minute skit on, he called it the alphabet people, like LGBTQI. And he was talking about like how the gays hate the lesbians and lesbians hate the trans. And he's like, the trans are the crazy ones. They make no sense. And he did a whole thing and it was just really funny.
Wait. The best part, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm sorry, sir. When it was the woman. He was funny. Was he not?
Yeah, you definitely got to check that one out.
Sorry.
So he did that Sticks and Stones one like a year and a half ago. And it got a lot of backlash from the LGBT community.
It's just a comedy thing though. Come on.
So then this one, he was talking about that. And like half of this special was just him talking about how he doesn't understand why people are targeting him. He's just trying to have a conversation about it. So what's come from this one is, and he was like, I know I'm going to get canceled from this. So the special is a Netflix special. There were 2 employees at Netflix, like the day after the new special came out, a couple employees at Netflix, trans employees, said that they were like, they didn't approve of what Netflix was doing.
Okay, but can we just break that down for a moment?
Yeah.
Okay, so they don't approve it.
Right.
No, seriously, I'm not trying to be, you can't, everybody can't be happy.
So they like were vocally, they put out a public statement or whatever. They're like, we think that the company that we work for should not support hate speech like this. And we don't want, this is a generalization. I'm not directly quoting. And we think that Netflix should sever ties with Dave Chappelle. So it developed from there. Netflix then said no. Netflix was like, we stand behind Dave.
Good.
We put this out. This is our material, and that's that. So then they had like a seminar.
But it's not enough, Bronson. It's never enough.
Oh, no, just wait. Yeah. So then they had a seminar, I guess, like with the executives. I don't know what the exact details, but like executives at Netflix were like doing a Zoom meeting about Dave or about the new special, whatever. And some of the employees who were protesting this thing, Netflix employees, joined the Zoom that they were not allowed to join. Like
they should be fired.
So they were fired.
Good.
So they joined the Zoom, and I think they like vocally protested in the meeting.
Good.
We don't support Dave Chappelle, whatever.
Couldn't be happy.
They were fired. Then it became a whole bigger thing, and now like the trans community at large, even outside of Netflix, then was like, Netflix fired the trans employees for speaking up against trans rights.
They fired employees who didn't follow proper procedure.
So then that's what Netflix said.
Correct.
So then now it's like there's a whole thing, and now the trans community is like, now we need to boycott Netflix as a whole.
Let them boycott. Who cares?
But I just thought that was a big deal that a tech company.
Proud of them. I'm proud of them.
Netflix is a tech company, so they're tech and Hollywood, two of the most liberal parts of the country. And they were like, no.
Proud of them.
They didn't kowtow to their employees.
Gives you a little hope.
Right.
A little bit of hope.
They were just like, we stand behind Dave. He didn't say anything bad. And did you think anything... the punching down shit, give me a fucking break. That's just why I wanted you to, before I told you about that, I wanted you to watch it.
I needed to watch it.
Because did you find anything that he said in that special offensive? He even made fun of Jews. Did you find anything he said offensive?
What do you mean, space Jews?
Right. I thought it was hilarious.
Okay, because it's comedic.
Right.
But there's a little truth to that too, though, which is comical.
Right, and that's what makes it funny. I don't even think it was offensive. I think it was actually supportive of the LGBT. He was like, I have questions and I want to talk to you. I want to know about it.
I think it was so well done. I actually think he's an extremely smart guy. Like, I'm blown away, Bronson, because I watched at the end. It's written by him too.
Oh, of course.
He's smart. Because to come up with that dialogue, Bronson, is unbelievable.
So let's see. Like, this is all happening over the last couple of days.
Who cares?
This is from 2 days ago. Netflix just fired the organizer of the trans employee walkout.
Love it.
So I guess there were employees at Netflix that were planning like a walkout.
Then get rid of them.
And they fired them.
Good.
And so
let them start their own fucking...
Netflix has fired a leader of the trans employee resource group who was organizing the upcoming October 20th walkout. The employee, who is black and currently pregnant, why do they have to say that? That's weird. Asked not to be named for fear of online harassment. They have been encouraging trans employees and allies to walk out of work in protest of Netflix's handling of the Dave Chappelle special. The employee declined to speak. This is a quote from the employee. All these white people are going around talking to the press and speaking publicly on Twitter, and the only person who gets fired is the black person who was quiet the whole time.
Of course.
That's absurd and just further shows that black trans people are the ones being targeted in this conversation.
Oh, so we're going We're going 1 degree less further than just trans?
The employee was terminated on suspicion of leaking metrics to the press related to the special. Those metrics about how much Netflix paid for the closer and how many people it reached ended up in a report on Bloomberg. While the employee has shared the metrics internally, they spoke out against the leaks. The leaking of internal data is highly unusual. A Netflix spokesperson confirmed the employee's dismissal. We have let go of an employee for sharing confidential. So I guess it's just, here's another one. Controversy surrounding the closer, which was widely criticized by trans activists for being transphobic, has roiled Netflix in the past week. The company suspended Tara Field, a trans software engineer who posted a viral tweet thread about the controversy for attending a director-level meeting that she wasn't invited to.
That's right.
Field has since been reinstated. Oh, interesting. The company is now sending employees details about what meetings they're allowed to attend and not.
But Bronson, if I told an employee, if I was behind closed doors with, let's say, my law partner, and an employer said, I need you to leave this between Michael and I, and they said no, I'd be like, you're now fired.
Yeah.
You're fired.
I also think as an employer, you should be able to fire someone for whoever. It's your company.
Correct.
You should be able to fire.
No,
the job is yours. You own the job and you're giving it to someone.
By the way, here's where I think the problem is, or the situation. The 2 LGBTQ employees.
So I think it's more. It appears that there was a whole walkout.
But I'm saying initially. Let's face someone. Okay. They have every right to say, listen, I'm a little bit offended. I don't like what was done. I don't agree. I don't think you should support Dave Chappelle. Hear me out. They're allowed their own opinion. And 100%. Then the company, the owner or the head could say, appreciate what you have to say. This is our decision. We found nothing wrong with it. We're going to, and then it ends.
And if you don't like it as the person, then
leave.
Quit.
Right. It ends.
If you don't like it, why would you work at a company that you don't like?
So what happens? So it should end.
Yeah.
The problem becomes it's not enough until you fucking succumb to their way. And that's where I have the problem. Because if it was reversed, which it is, right? Because they're saying thank you, but no, we don't agree. Mm-hmm. They're now pushing further. So when do we stop with this fucking, it's got to end where we don't have to give in to every aspect.
Giving in,
And I don't want to give in. And I give Netflix a lot of credit.
I thought that was huge. That was a big turning point that Netflix stood behind that when they were getting all this transphobic shit.
And I agree. Like when I was watching Dave Chappelle's special, I actually, for the first time, well, I don't say first time, but really felt like I'd be angry if I was black. Angry.
You saw things from a black point of view that you haven't before.
Angry.
I felt the same way.
And I'm like, because really, this is even a conversation that they're what a 0.5% and 1% of the entire population. And by the way, and here's the bigger problem. You're born black. You have no say in it. You have say if you want to fucking become LGBT, not gay. That's what I'm saying. You want to go transgender? If you want to switch clothing.
Yes, but a lot of trans people will say they were born in the wrong body, so they have to switch.
I get it. But
I agree with you, but I'm giving that caveat because that's what they would say.
And I do hear that. But my point is, but again,
it is still a choice you're making.
I think Chappelle said, but your people weren't enslaved. You weren't owned by anybody.
Yeah. And it's like, you guys are white men that are like cutting your dicks off. But the best was when he was like, the ones that have pussies. He did a whole joke about how he was like, a pussy, like a pussy on a woman is a pussy, but a trans pussy is like, and he just goes, and then he goes, it's like Beyond Meat or Impossible Meat. He goes, it's an impossible pussy. It was so good.
He goes, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or something.
He was like, it's still a pussy, but
I still think the best was when he did the two big black gay guys.
And and he was like, he goes, they had 80s gay face.
80s gay face. You know that face? And he did it perfectly.
Yeah, perfectly.
No, he did it perfectly.
No, definitely everyone's got to check.
I was on a plane on the way back listening to it with my AirPods in, and I was laughing out loud on the plane.
And it's even funnier when you watch with someone. Bryce and I watched together, and we were like hitting each other because we were cracking up.
He's priceless. And if I was a black person, I would be so angry at the LGBTQ because it's like this. Bruce Jenner Caitlyn Jenner should not be Woman of the Year. Sorry.
And that's what I've said that also, like from the get-go of this podcast.
It's
I've said that women should be outraged.
Angry.
Because it's trans women are men who are becoming women and taking over women's spaces. Yep. Like that should offend feminists.
Actually, absolutely.
That's literally men taking over women's things.
Shocking, Bronson. It's so, but people again are so stupid. It's shocking. So on a lighter note, are we done with this one?
Yeah,
but I agree.
So I just thought that was a big deal that Netflix stood up.
It gives me a glimmer of hope.
Who knows what's going to come? Like this is all in the last couple of days, so who knows? Netflix might back down, but the fact that they were like, no,
I don't know if
we're
they're
standing
back down.
I also think Dave is so powerful and he's such a big draw to them that they're like, we're going to stand behind that over these random employees.
Dave Chappelle, I got to tell you, I'm going to watch your other stuff. I have a whole different level of respect. I never really knew enough about him, and I think he's brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
A comedic genius.
No, brilliant.
And a voice that we need in these times.
No, brilliant.
Yeah.
Love the fucking guy.